So my name's Mark Wilkins. I'm co-owner of Fallout Comics, and it's a comic book store. Well, this section of the store back here is what they call the wall. This is where we put our higher value and particularly Silver Age comics. There's a few non-Silver Age first appearances, but generally speaking, 1958 through 1975. That's where we get introduced to almost all of what we know as the current comic book classic characters, particularly from Marvel. With time, the books become rarer and rarer. There was a huge explosion back in the 90s, but comics were never rare. Comics were always popular to some extent. Everything has a pretty healthy print run to it. But it's paper. It's unless it's preserved in a very specific way, it's going to decay. It's going to grow mold. It's going to fade. But as long as it's preserved well, you can still find a lot of older comics in really nice condition. Miniature gaming, but really the miniature game that we support mostly is the Games Workshop games, 40K, Age of Sigmar. We have some paint lines. We have lots of painting supplies. One of our better features of the store is, since everything's 20% off, that includes all the Games Workshop, which is a very, very competitive price on their merchandise. It's a miniatures war game. It's a hobby. You assemble the models. You paint the models. There are games you play with the models. A lot of people just assemble and paint the models because, well, it's fun to do. Hence the hobby aspect of the game. A personal thing for me, because yet again, growing up in the 80s, D&D was one of our big cultural events of the late 70s, early 80s. It was very underground. But if you were one of the people who knew about it, you were special. So it was a big deal to play D&D back then. One of the most rewarding moments I've seen in my lifetime, as far as this entire industry and business is concerned, is I'm actually old enough that I saw a book burning in the United States of America, where people purposely were burning books because they were D&D books. The satanic panic was real, just like they talk about in Stranger Things. There were actual book burnings of D&D books because people thought they were satanic. There are now after-school clubs at public schools where they play Dungeons and Dragons. So we went from book burning to playing in public schools. Very, very rewarding personally to see that transition happen. But D&D is a great game. Just the camaraderie aspect, just being able to interact with other people. I know lots of people that pretty much their entire socialization is playing D&D with other people. Other than that, they don't really socialize much. And it's just healthy to, have friends. and D&D is really good at generating that, because the common goal is not the goal of the game. The common goal is for everyone to have fun. And when everyone has that common goal, it's really easy for people to get along and become friends. We have recently added a new section basically out of pure public demand. We stubbornly resisted for way too long to start buying manga. Now we do. And we have a very healthy section of it. And yet again, just like everything else in the store, I'm a broken record, 20% off even on the manga. This is a fun little section that we offer. We have a $2 section, which isn't really $2 because it's 20% off. But everything in these bins is $2 a piece. You can hunt through, find whatever. There's no organization, because when we had only organized product out, we had a remarkable amount of people ask us, where's the stuff I have to hunt through? I want to hunt through it. We thought that was odd that they would prefer that over organized material, but you know, I guess that's part of the fun. Here we have just a couple rows of classic, what we call back issues. They're called back issues because they're not current, they go back. We get told all the time we have a remarkable amount of back issues, though this wouldn't even be the tip of the tip of the tip of the iceberg of all the back issues that exist. We have an employee named Matt, who is very well read, very smart guy. And this is his section. This is what he loves, because he loves the written word. He loves books, and he loves comics because he doesn't see a difference. The pictures don't make them any less of books to him. He's the reason we have a lot of the really well-written material here. I always grew up as a classic superhero fan, so I know the superhero stories, but he knows a lot of just the well-written, good authors that just are a good read. If you're looking for any graphic novels, it's not just, comic books and superheroes here. There's plenty of other material here that you can engage in. Just look at this thing. It's a 24-hour-long campaign. It's $160. I mean, we give a 20% discount. I'm always going to mention that. But think about that. A board game that, if played correctly, takes 24 hours. This is crazy. These are Funko Pops. These are these genius little plastic things that somehow this company, all they seem to have to do is ask someone's permission, and everyone says yes. Everyone's like, of course I want there to be a Funko of me, or of my dog, or here, make a Funko of, I don't know, anything. Because regardless of how obscure you think a pop culture reference is, there's probably at least one Funko Pop for it already. If not, it's in works. And then here's one of our other favorite sections. The Kids Corner. Just because kids, comics. I mean, how fun is it to watch a kid run over here and just start screaming out the names of characters that he sees on the books? So this display here, this is another one of Matt's favorite things, just like his graphic novels back there. This is some Matt graphic novel stuff, but this is the new stuff. This is going to be stuff that came out in the last few weeks. And then if it's a featured book from, the last month or two, we've got a couple display tables where you'll find some great stuff, like here's a facsimile edition of Detective Comics 27. And then this is just our new comic section, this island here. This is all the stuff that came out since last Wednesday. So that way, if you collect on a weekly basis, this is the table for you. And while we're at it, Nick would want me to mention, because this is one of his pride and joys, the Fallout comic mystery box, which we're almost out of this batch and there's still some good tickets out there. Well, I've tried to be as entertaining as possible when talking about my own store. I feel like this is kind of like when somebody talks about their own outfit or something. Well, it's theirs. Obviously, they like it. But, I mean, come check it out. This place is, if nothing else, just wear a Fitbit. Get your steps in. I mean, this place is huge. Probably gonna have to come here more than once. We just want people to enjoy the place. So even if it's not what you're into, even if you have no intention of buying anything, that's fine. Come check it out.